Welcome everyone. I'm Martin from Marker Analytics. In our previous videos, we looked at Power Query and we built our first dashboard. Now comes the part that scares most beginners, DAX. You don't have to be programmer to use DAX effectively. Today, I explain you in simple terms how to use DAX and we built our first few measures. DAX stands for Data Analysis Expressions. Think of DAX as formulas that help Power BI calculate the numbers, similar to Excel. And if you're familiar with Excel formulas, there's a big overlap. You can find a loads of resources about DAX online, absolutely free. There's a Microsoft Learning website, there's a loads of YouTube videos online, there are blogs, and even AI can help you with your DAX. Here we have Microsoft Learn website, which is a good free resource for beginners. You have a section Learn full of free videos that you can start with and all DAX functions and statements listed here. You would be familiar with loads of these from your Excel. You can click on individual function and there's a good explanation what the function expects from you as a parameter. Let's look at the real examples now. I have a sample data here with the revenue volume in one of my columns. And I want to add a calculated column. I can click on Table Tools and click on New Column. In this example, the DAX will calculate row by row. Let's say I want to calculate gross profit and I know my margin is 50%. So I put 0.5 and multiply by revenue. As I start typing revenue, Power BI will give me hints what I want, and this time it guessed correctly, so I can click on revenue. So I'm multiplying my revenue column by 50%. Click on enter, and here I have my calculated column. Very similar to Excel. However, if I have filters in my report, the filters will have no effect on the calculation of the calculated column. However, real power of DAX lies with the measures. Let's create some measures here. I right-click on a table where I want my measure to be in. I click New Measure, and I can start typing in this bar up here. Let's say I want to calculate sum of revenue. I just type sum, just like in Excel, and I can add a column. Let's say it needs to be numerical value. I know that my numerical values are here, revenue, because of this sign in here. And I have a gross profit that we have just calculated, and this is calculated column because of this sign up here. So I can use any of those. Let's say gross profit. Again, I get good hints from Power BI. And click enter. I can use this in a card, for example. I could put a card in here, and here is my new calculated measure, and I click and drag it into the data, and here I have my sum of revenue. Let's add some filter so I can show you the power of measures. I click on slicer and I can slice this by category. And as I switch between the categories, my revenue volume is changing. Let's add another measure. Again, I right click on the table I want the measure to be in. New measure. Let's name this average. And I type average. Power BI will auto-complete when I start typing. And I can select revenue, per example. Again. And let's put this to another card. Here is our new measure, average, and I click and drag it into a data, and there is my average. Again, when I flip through my filters, both of these values change, and that is the real power of measures. Let's look at 3 common beginner's mistakes. First, using calculated columns instead of measures. Remember, measure recalculates based on your filters and slicers, but calculated columns will not. That's why I almost always use measures. Second, using too complicated DAX from beginning. You need to grasp the foundation before you can move on to more complicated formulas. And the third one is ignoring the relationships in your model. You can calculate values from different tables, but they need to have relationships. In this video, we learned what is DAX. We built some essential measures. We talked about difference between calculated columns and measures, and we talked about common beginner's mistakes. In the next video, I will show you how to use function calculate properly, and I will use how to use time series. If you like this video, subscribe and like or leave a comment. See you next time.